Welcome back, class. Today we are going to talk about creating events and calendars in Google Calendar. So again, to get to the Google Calendar app, use the grid, the Google Apps grid, click on the Calendar app. That brings you to your Google Calendar. Notice you see all of my calendars, all the calendars that I've created. There's many here because I'm a teacher, and every time I create a class in Google Classroom, it automatically creates a calendar for me and for my students. And then there's these other calendars over here that I can scroll down and look through. So we're going to create a new calendar. A couple ways to do this. The easiest way is to use that down arrow and click Create New Calendar. Notice it gives you a Create New Calendar page. And the calendar name, I can name it whatever I choose to name it. Let's name this calendar. Let's see. Let's pretend that I'm the coach of a baseball team and I want to create a calendar for my baseball team. So let's call it the Sharks Baseball Calendar. Sharks Baseball, actually, not calendar. I don't have to say calendar. Let's say 2017, 2018. And the description will be practice and game schedule for the Aurora Sharks baseball team 2017, 2018. Well, let me just say 2017 because it's not going to be 2 years. So we'll call it 2017 like that. All right. If I wanted a location, I could put a location in here. We can just put Aurora, Illinois. United States, the time zone will be Central Time Zone. I can share this calendar with others and everyone in the organization. I can choose to share with everyone in the organization, or I can make it public. If I click that and click Make It Public, it will allow other people, not just people in Indian Prairie School District, to be able to view that calendar, which is what I would want in this particular instance. So I can share it also with specific people. And I can put email addresses in here. This is something you might want to do if you have a list of, let's say, all the players in your team or the parents that give you an email list. You can share it individually with all those people by putting their email addresses in there. And you can allow them to do these different things, make changes and manage sharing, very similar to your other Google documents and folders and different things you can share. The sharing privileges are very detailed over here. So it's really nice. And then when I'm done, I click Create Calendar. It says making your calendar public will make all events visible to the world, including via Google search. Are you sure? I say yes. This is where you want to be careful. You don't want to share things with the whole world because then people can creep on you and find out what you're doing all the time and that kind of stuff. So you'll be careful. Definitely should be careful about that. So I've created that calendar, and you can see that that calendar is going to end up in right here under my calendars. It says Sharks Baseball. So notice that it's on right now. If I click on this, it turns it off, so I can't view that. But I want to be able to view the events that I'm creating. So now that I've created a calendar, I'm going to create an event. Let's say I have practice every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So I can click appointment slots. I'll click practice. I can even put a when in here. Notice that it's the default calendar was Mark Dwyer, my Mark Dwyer calendar. So I want to go and change that to Sharks Baseball. Now I'm going to create this event. I don't want to create it yet. I want to edit it first because I want to add more details to it. Notice I want to repeat this event every Tuesday. I'm repeating it weekly, every 1 week. Notice that it's on Tuesdays. Let's say it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And starting on that date, and it's ending on a specific date. Let's say I know it's going to end on, my practices are going to end at the beginning of June. Let's say the last practice will be June 6th. So it's giving me a summary. It's going to put this calendar event every week on Tuesday and Thursday until June 6th. I click done. Notice it put the repeat in there. I can put a location in here. Let's say I wanted to be at Commissioners Park. Start typing it in. Hey, look at that. Commissioners Park shows up right there. I can put a description in here if I want to. Bring your glove and bat. Practice will start promptly at 5 or something like that. Notice I want to maybe change it to 5 to 6:30. Don't be late. Something like that. You'll have to run an extra lap if you're late. Something. I can click over here on the availability. I don't really need to worry too much about that. And then the calendar default, if I want to make it public or private, it was defaulted. Remember when I created this calendar, they were public. These events were public. So I can, even though my whole calendar is public, I could make a specific event private if I wanted to right there. So when I'm done doing all this, I can click save. Notice there's also options for adding guests, inviting people, or adding rooms. If you want to add rooms. Now notice this is because I work for the school district and there's rooms in here for those 4 schools, but I'm just going to leave that blank, leave that how it is, click save. And when I do that, you'll notice that it added all of those events. If I look at the monthly view, you'll see all of my practices. Let me turn off the White Sox calendar. You can see all of my practices. Let's also turn off the Mark Dwyer calendar. I'm only viewing my baseball practice schedule. All right. Now I can add more events, but again, you have to be careful when you're adding the events. Let's say there's a game on the 14th. I can click away game versus the Cows, the Sharks and the Cows, classic rivalry. I can click edit event. Again, I can put a location in here. Let's say this is going to be at, let me think of some parks around here. Comiskey, it's not called Comiskey anymore. This is called, let's go with Wrigley Field. Playing at Wrigley Field on that Friday, and it's on the Sharks baseball calendar. Make sure you're on the right calendar. I can put a description in here if I wanted to. I can even change the event color. Let's say I want games to be green. Maybe I want away games to be green and home games to be red or vice versa. And then I can click save. And you'll see that I've got that game right here showing up as an away game versus the Cows.